So the Baltimore Ravens, they got the Philadelphia Eagles in a rare 4:25 game. It's weird. It feels like, we get our usual suspects, right? We get the Monday Night Football, we get Sunday Night Football, we always get a Thursday Night Football game. But this is a rare 4:25 on a Sunday afternoon game where you're playing against probably an NFC team, right? And the Baltimore Ravens got the Philadelphia Eagles, another top team, but this time in the other conference, which for the Baltimore Ravens has been advantageous, right? Like, let's be honest, y'all. The Ravens against the NFC, I think, is one loss, and crazy enough, it's been in that division, but it hasn't been the Cowboys, it hasn't been the Eagles, it hasn't been Washington, it has been the New York Giants, which the Ravens have a matchup against them a little bit later on in the season, actually after the bye week, which is next week. So in 2 weeks, they got to play the New York Giants. But the Philadelphia Eagles, it's going to be a tough test for the Baltimore Ravens, especially for this defense coming in, because we know this defense, I mean, they leave a lot to be desired, y'all. This defense is not the Ravens defense of old, and we've been having conversations about this defense throughout this entire season, whether or not they are good, whether or not they are at least good enough for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. And the last couple of weeks, they played, I think, better, but we have to remember who the Ravens have been playing, and of course, you think back to the loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, are you really worried about that offense? You're more so worried about getting outcoached by Mike Tomlin. But anyway, the weapons that they have on this Philadelphia Eagles offense, and Jalen Hurts included, of course, you got Saquon. So you got two of the top rushers in the league with Saquon going up against Derrick Henry. You got two really good quarterbacks in Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. You got really talented wide receiver cores when you got Devontae Smith over there. You got A.J. Brown over there. So, I mean, you got a really talented cast of guys over there. But the Ravens have their own talent as well. Of course, we talked about Derrick Henry, we talked about Lamar Jackson, but, the way Bateman's been playing the last couple of weeks has been, and then just this season overall has been good. Of course, Zay is always seems to be Mr. Consistent, right, for this team. But the other part, too, it will be Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely's been a little bit silent as of late, so that'll be interesting to see what he does this week. And it's crazy, man, like, to see what, you never know who's going to beat you with the Ravens, and I think that's hard to defend, and I think the Ravens should use that to their advantage, and that's another part of the reason why this Ravens offense could be unstoppable, but they find a way to get in their own way sometimes, whether it be execution or whether it be coaching. So, but it's definitely going to be a good matchup, and this is one. We mark down a couple of games throughout the season where it's like, this is a statement game. I might even do that next year. Next year when the schedule comes out, I might be like, I might do a way too early statement game list for the Baltimore Ravens. But it's crazy, man. Like, there's always a couple of statement games. There's always a couple of games where it's like, you need to win this game, whether you're trying to keep flow with the AFC, which is what the Ravens are trying to do. I mean, I think they've lost the number one seed because I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to fall into every victory that they can. But I will say, trying to keep pace with the AFC North, trying to keep pace with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think is the biggest thing because, you're only, one game behind. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have played a couple games as of late where it's been like, they've been games they can lose, games where they've been falling into wins, it feels like too. But, they've lost a couple more than Kansas City has. And because of that, I think that opens up the Ravens to have a chance to still take the AFC North and still host a couple of playoff games here and there. It's going to get a little windy. When you do those outside videos, it gets a little windy. Like last time we was outside, it was like the summertime. It was like week 2. I think it was like week 2 or something. The Ravens had a big game going in, to see what they were going to do. It's getting a little windy, but, in the season of giving thanks and all that, like it gets a little windy, gets a little cold, so I ain't going to be out here long anyway. But back to the game, though. Look, I think the Ravens have a chance to continue to show that they are one of the league's elite. One of the league's unstoppable offenses, one of the league's unstoppable crews, right? I think they have a chance to show that in this game against the Eagles because it's not that it gets easier from here, but I think this is the toughest test out of the rest of their games, with the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers again, because for whatever reason, no matter how bad the Steelers are, the Ravens cannot beat the Steelers, but they're going to have to coming up on the end of the season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this offense, once again, we talked about it before. We talked about it with the Steelers game. They're gonna have to play a clean game today. I think they need to put up points. I think they need to. They can't start slow today. Like these last couple games, these last couple games, they've just been starting slow, and they're gonna have to find a way to get going and get going early. I don't care if that's leaning on Derrick Henry more times than you have to, but that's why you signed the guy. That's why you signed him. You signed him so that he can be the guy you need when you need that guy. To take some pressure off of Lamar Jackson, take some pressure off these receivers, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see, the Derrick Henry involvement. I think as long as you get him involved, you win the game. I think, they popped up a graphic last week. As long as you get Derrick Henry involved, you win the game. And the Ravens have been that type of team since Lamar Jackson took over. As long as you run the football a certain number of times, I think it's like 25 to 30. It was 30 back then. It might be close to 20, 25 now. But as long as you run the ball 20 to 30 times in a game, you are going to win the game. That's a fact. That's the Ravens zigging when everybody else is zagging. That's what and they have to stick to their identity, and that's what's going to keep them going into the playoffs. Because imagine bludgeoning everybody with the run game when they're not really ready for the run game. I know, people are preparing for the Ravens, but a lot of teams aren't built to stop the run. They're just not. They're built to stop the pass, because that's what this league is. Defensively, they're going to have to get some stops. Slow down this offense, slow down the tush push, slow down all of that. The Eagles, I think, have been sneaky good. I think everybody early in the season, of course, was talking about Washington because they were playing well. The Eagles were kind of sputtering early in the season, but they have found their way back in the first place. And because of that, that makes this an even tougher matchup, because you played well against the first place Washington Commanders earlier in the season, but now you played once again against the first place Philadelphia Eagles. So the Ravens are going to have to find a way defensively to get some stops, get some turnovers, and the offense got to cash in. Look, y'all, I'm getting out of here. It's a little cold. I'm thankful for y'all, though. I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. I hope y'all still ain't full, still ain't rolling around, because I know I am a little bit, but I hope y'all ain't still too full. Hope y'all had some good time with y'all's family, y'all's friends, whoever y'all hung out with for Thanksgiving. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Don't shop too much on Black Friday, too, y'all. It's just too much. It's just too much, but I'll see y'all guys on the next episode of the Be More Show. Be sure to subscribe if you at that point right there, you at the subscribe button, you right there about to hit it, go ahead. Just scroll down a little bit. If you ain't there, just scroll down a little bit, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys on the next episode. And join the conversation down in the comments as well. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Be More Show.